What it means when all the birds in your yard go completely silent at once. You were outside. Everything felt normal. Birdsong drifting through the trees. Feeders busy. Wings fluttering. The usual living soundtrack of your backyard filling the air. And then nothing. Not quieter. Not gradual. Gone. Every chirp. Every call. Every fluttering sound stopped all at once. Like someone flipped a switch. No warning. No visible cause. Just sudden, total silence. And before your mind could explain it, you felt it. That instinctive tightening in your chest. That subtle signal deep in your gut telling you something was wrong. Because it was. Bird silence is almost never random. When an entire yard goes quiet at once, birds are responding. To danger. To change. To something they detected before you did. Welcome back to the Silent Bird Signal. If you're new here, subscribe now, because once you understand what birds are actually telling each other in these moments, you will never hear sudden silence the same way again. Today, we're breaking down 7 reasons birds stop singing instantly. What each silence means, what triggers it, and what your yard may be trying to warn you about. Some are common. Some are deeply unsettling. And the last one is something most people experience, but almost never truly understand. Let's begin. A predator has entered the area. This is the most immediate cause, and the most common. Predator. Not necessarily one you can see, but one the birds absolutely can. Songbirds do not stop vocalizing out of confusion. They stop out of survival. A singing bird is an exposed bird. The moment a hawk glides overhead, an owl shifts silently through trees, or even a prowling outdoor cat enters range. Every nearby bird understands that sound could reveal location. So they go silent. Instantly. Collectively. Research has shown alarm responses in mixed bird flocks can spread in mere seconds. Faster than most humans can consciously process a threat. What you're witnessing is not panic. It's precision. An invisible emergency broadcast system operating across species. If your yard suddenly goes quiet, stop what you're doing. Look up. Check roof lines. Fence posts. Tall branches. The threat may still be there. Watching. Waiting. And the birds already know. Something moved beneath them. This one surprises most people. Because the danger may not be above them at all. It may be below. Many backyard birds, especially robins, doves, juncos, and sparrows, spend much of their lives reading the ground, not just with their eyes, but through vibration. Their feet are extraordinarily sensitive. Sensitive enough to detect worms beneath soil, insects shifting through leaves, tiny movements humans would never notice. But that same sensitivity also detects something else. Unexpected movement, a mole tunneling underground, a snake sliding through grass, a rodent disturbing roots beneath leaf cover. And when birds detect movement they cannot immediately identify, they freeze. Not explosive panic. Not immediate flight. Stillness. A strange, rigid silence. Heads raised. Bodies locked. Every nearby bird suddenly pausing as if the earth itself became suspicious. This silence often feels different from aerial predator silence. Softer. Lower. More cautious. Because the threat hasn't fully revealed itself yet. If your birds suddenly stop, but remain in place, look down, check garden edges, grass lines, brush piles. Something may be moving where you'd least expect it, and your birds may be reacting to danger under your feet before you ever see it. The weather hasn't changed yet, but it will. Sometimes the silence isn't about predators. It's about pressure, atmospheric pressure. Long before humans notice darkening skies, before radar alerts, before the first distant thunder, birds often already know. because their bodies are extraordinarily sensitive to barometric shifts, in ways most people never realize. A significant drop in pressure can signal an incoming storm hours before visible weather arrives. And birds respond immediately, sometimes with frantic feeding. But when the system is severe enough, they do something else. They go quiet, very quiet. The songs stop, the feeders empty. Branches that were active moments before suddenly feel abandoned. This is not fear. It's preparation. Birds begin relocating to shelter. Dense shrubs, evergreens, roof overhangs, protected cover. They reduce activity to conserve energy before dangerous weather strikes. If your yard suddenly falls silent on an otherwise calm day, and nothing visible seems wrong, check the forecast, because your birds may already be responding to a storm system still hours away. In many cases, they are better forecasters than your phone. And once you recognize that pattern, you may start trusting your backyard more than the weather app. Something silent may be hunting through the grass. This one unnerves people, because the threat often isn't fast. It isn't loud, and it may be only a few feet away. Snakes, among the most effective bird silencers in nature, not because birds fail to notice them, but because of how birds respond once they do. Unlike hawks, which trigger explosive escape, snakes create a slower kind of fear, a prolonged, deeply focused silence. Birds often freeze completely, eyes locked downward, bodies motionless, tracking, calculating, waiting, because sudden movement could attract the predator's attention. And in that moment, remaining unseen may be safer than fleeing. This creates one of the eeriest silences you can witness in a backyard. Not empty, not chaotic, heavy, still, intentional. If your birds are silent but visibly staring toward grass, hedges, garden borders, or low vegetation, pay attention. The danger may be on the ground. Many backyard snakes are harmless to humans. Some are even beneficial. But to birds, they represent a highly specialized predator. And the silence they trigger can last far longer than a passing hawk. So if your yard suddenly feels frozen, and every bird seems focused downward, you may not be alone out there. A stranger may have entered the social order. Not every silence is caused by danger. At least, not the kind with claws or teeth. Sometimes the disruption is social. And for birds, social order matters far more than most people realize. Your backyard birds are not visiting randomly. They operate within an established hierarchy. Regular visitors know who feeds first, who yields, who dominates specific perches, who belongs. This invisible structure is maintained through constant low-level communication. Soft chirps, contact calls, positional sounds. A continuous social conversation humans rarely notice. But when an unfamiliar bird arrives, particularly one larger, more aggressive, or behaviorally dominant, that system can pause instantly. The regulars go quiet. They watch. They assess. Is this newcomer a threat? A competitor? A usurper? Will it disrupt feeding patterns? Drive others away? The silence lasts until the social calculation is complete. Sometimes only seconds. Sometimes much longer. And when the quiet finally breaks, your yard's hierarchy may have changed. Blue jays, starlings, grackles, cowbirds. New arrivals can radically alter the entire atmosphere of a feeder system. So if your birds suddenly fall silent, but no predator is visible, watch for who just arrived, because what you may be witnessing is not survival silence, but social restructuring. They may be hearing something you can't. I saved this one for last, because for many people, this is the silence they never forget. Sometimes your yard goes quiet, and none of the usual explanations fit. No hawk, no storm, no ground disturbance, no snake, no social disruption, just silence, sudden, total, lingering, and deeply unsettling. This is where human perception reaches its limit, because birds experience the world through sensory systems far beyond our own. Many species can detect frequencies humans cannot hear. Low-frequency infrasound, distant storm systems, geological vibrations, subtle environmental shifts, signals that may travel for miles, long before humans perceive any visible evidence. Research into avian sensory biology suggests birds can respond to atmospheric and acoustic cues that remain entirely outside human awareness. Which means, sometimes birds may be reacting to something real that you are physically incapable of sensing. Something distant, something approaching, something beyond your range. When this happens, the silence can feel profoundly eerie, because your environment hasn't visibly changed. And yet every bird around you has already decided that something matters. That silence is not empty. It is information. An entire network of living sensors responding to signals you were never designed to receive. And for a brief moment, your backyard becomes a place where the natural world knows more than you do. So the next time every bird suddenly goes silent, don't ignore it. Look, listen, pay attention, because your yard may be telling you something long before you understand what it is. Have you ever experienced sudden bird silence in your own backyard? Did you ever discover what caused it? Tell me in the comments. I read every story, and some of the most chilling patterns come directly from viewers who noticed their yards go quiet before they understood why. If you found this video fascinating, make sure to subscribe to the Silent Bird Signal. Because the more you understand what birds are truly signaling, the more your backyard transforms from something ordinary into one of the most revealing ecosystems you'll ever observe. And if you thought this was unsettling, wait until you discover what it means when birds suddenly vanish from your feeder entirely. You may never look at your yard the same way again.